Hey guys, we're going to be going back to the sub bosses of the final area in Dark Visions number 18 for a little bit more of a budget run than I did on the first clear with turn 1 cartons. So we're going to be going to Kokuryu first. It's a dragon weak to wind. We're going to use this team because all we really need is like a sky. I'm going to show you the basics to get a quick clear in, perfect score. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do Jesse as our provoker with some earth resist. We're going to use Elena just for the sword in peril. Zahn and Shadow for chaining. Also, Zahn's going to do smoke bomb to do mirage, so we don't take damage on turn 2. And then Sky is going to do jump with wind damage. She is a pretty good wind damage dealer. Okay, so to start off, we're just going to have Sky let's see, we're going to do Sharp Spear, Severe Squall, and Overcast Skies. Shadow is going to dual cast Graviga and target our own party. That's going to put Zahn into critical health so that we can do Smoke Bomb next turn, because next turn is going to have an accuracy attack. Alright, we're going to use Jesse on Titan just to do a stone resist buff. Zahn can guard this turn, Elena can guard this turn. So turn 1 is single target physical with a damage over time and an earth in peril, but even with the in peril, we're still 100 or better earth resist, so that's fine. We're going to go ahead and use Sky to just normal attack here. That's her her jump. Elena is going to do Piercing Prism for the sword in peril. Let's see, Zahn is going to do Smoke Bomb for 5-stack Mirage. And that's pretty much all we need. We can just guard these two. And the damage over time is immune on Jesse. And then here's the 5-stack Mirage with accuracy, but with the Mirage, it handles it. Okay, that's pretty much it. We're ready to kill. We did an 87% break already with Sky. We did the Wind in Peril and all with Sky. So yeah, we're good to go. So Shadow is going to shift here. We're going to triple the usual. We're going to AR and double SR. Zahn is going to, let's see, AR and double SR. And we're going to cap it. So let's go ahead and do this. Drop Sky. And that should have been 10 billion or better. I'll show you the gear and all in just a moment. Yeah, 12 billion with just a Sky. Empty party slots, non-DPS chainers, a lot of dead slots. So very easy to damage cap this. You just got to deal with the turn 1 and 2 stuff. If you go for a slower clear, yeah, there it is. Very simple. Okay, let me show you the team and the gear we're using. So we did Jessie. She has full evasion, passive provoke naturally, and she's got 250 earth resist after a buff. So we did a 70%. Earth resist buffs, we only technically needed 180. I went a little bit higher than you needed. There it is. Cheap gear, full evasion. She gears for that very easily. So the earth resist is for the damage over time on turn 1, and then the 5-stack Mirage is because we get some accuracy attacks on turn 2. Other options, if you don't want to use Mirage, you could like imbue the boss with C card or Kresnik, something like that. But a Mirage stack is pretty simple to do. Naked Elena, she was literally here just for the sword in peril. Zahn is just using a wind weapon, and that's pretty much it. He did chaining as well as the 5-stack Mirage on turn 2. Shadow is just dual casting Graviga because he has black magic access. That puts Zahn into critical health. You could also do things like give Zahn guts and then just like punch him to trigger guts or whatever. So that's fine. Shift form, just using a wind weapon. And then Sky, not using the base form. Shift form, I'm using a sword because the Turfine has really good variance, so it's way better as a two-hander, so there we go. The sword in peril came from Elena. Other than that, chain cap up, jump damage versus dragons. We are using some STMRs here, nothing really like, super premium or anything, but yeah, we are using some STMRs, and then her own card for the jump damage. We're maxed on jump and we're maxed on dragon, so yeah. Pretty simple, just jump with Sky. Okay, let's go over to Siren. See you in a moment. Alright guys, now we're going to be going to Siren. It's a bird weak to light element. And we're going to be using Pause. I got her off banner recently, and this is probably the only chance she's ever going to see to be used. Because she's overall not, the greatest. But we're going to be taking this team. We're going to be giving it a go. My Pause is EX1, so she needs 5 turns for her SLB. So we're going for a 5-turn clear. So we're bringing like a tank and resist buffs and Imperil cures and all that kind of stuff. You could obviously kill this way quicker if you wanted to, but for the fun of it, I wanted to use Pause, so we're going for a slower clear. So the boss starts off with Nethicite, that is permanent. So we're going to use Louise to just finger snap that away with Odin. You could also do things like Holy Torch or whatever, like you could dispel with Holy Torch. Same thing, but you got to get rid of that Nethicite, and she won't reapply it, so that's good. Aerith can discard. We're going to use Eurytia to start stealing Imperils with 4 element barrier pretty much every turn. She's geared in high lightning resist. So is Melia, who is going to cover and do a 100% lightning resist buff for the party. Because some of the boss's attacks ignore cover. And we're going to use Zidane on Lakshmi to confusion immunity party. Zidane is also our passive provoke evasion unit wearing death immunity. So the boss does confuse, we're now immune. The boss does attacks that ignore cover, that also imperil, but we're immune thanks to the lightning resist from Melia. Let's go ahead and reload Eurytia and steal those imperils. You gotta do that every single turn. We can just guard, Pause, Louise, and Aerith for now. Zidane can just reapply confusion immunity, and we can just cover again with Melia. So again, the boss does attacks that ignore cover and imperil, and then does attacks that can be covered. So Melia is wearing lots of thunder resist. We'll show the gear at the end. So let's go ahead and start getting ready for the kill on turn 5. We're going to steal imperils again. We're going to just reload these. We can just guard you. But Pause is going to Lucidius Blade to imperil light element. And Aerith will do Wish to Save the Planet for the Rod Imperil. Okay, so again, some attacks that ignore cover and imperil and death attack. Not a problem, all immune. Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to use Zidane to Bird Killer buff for the party. We're going to steal imperils again with Eurytia, cover again with Melia. We're just going to guard Pause. We're going to use Aerith's base form LB for the light, imbue, and amplify and stat buff. And then Louise is going to do Incapacitate Target for the good Spirit Break. And again, more attacks that ignore cover, some that don't ignore cover. We're using a tank to take care of those. Perfect. Now the SLB is ready on Pause, so we're good to go. Eurytia is not going to contribute here. So we're going to shift Melia, and we're going to do her shifted SR skill with Zidane, who's going to shift, and triple SR, and that's going to chain together for a 60 count chain score. True Stellar Circle. Louise is going to shift and quad Chaos Wave Awaken. That's going to chain with, that's going to chain with Pause's SLB, which is quad Chaos Wave Frames. And we're going to use Aerith to Holy. This is probably overkill, but whatever. So we're going to send Aerith, and we're going to wait. Holy takes forever. Keep waiting. Send everyone else. And that should be the end of the boss. 100 count chain score as well. There we go. Let's see what kind of damage we dealt. Hopefully it's high. 10 billion or better. 22 billion. There we go. So yeah, we overkilled by a dramatic amount. So yeah, you can take as long as you want, as long as you've got a evasion provoke death immune unit, lightning resist on your party, and a magical cover tank with confusion immunity. Here's the breakdown. Pause did damage cap by herself. We didn't even need Aerith, but Aerith also contributed 8 billion. You could also use Aerith to solo cap this if you really wanted to. You could use, the reflection. If we'd reflected Aerith, she would have solo capped it as well. But the reflect is a big headache with timing and all. I don't like doing reflect if I can avoid it. But yeah, there we go. So let's go ahead and show the team for Siren. Here's the party. So the whole party has 0 or better thunder resist, but our tank has, technically we only needed 100 or better, but we geared 200, and we're using 100% buff as well. So there's her gear. Shift form, we're just naked, who cares? She's just a support chainer. Zidane is our evasion passive provoke Death immune. He has passive provoke and evasion naturally, so he's incredibly easy to gear for that. He's primarily just for the bird killer buff. Also, he is on Lakshmi to give us confusion immunity. Eurisha stole the Imperils, wearing 200 or better Thunder Resist, and that's pretty much it. She just stole the Imperils every turn. That's literally all she did. Aerith in the base form is using a Rod and then an MP and Spirit build against birds. Here's the setup we're using. Let's see, we've got Bird Killer. 225 Bird Killer, 3300 MP, 3600 Spirit, and she did 8 billion without Reflect. There it is. Pause, SOB unit using a Rod. EX1, don't have the STMR, so she's not as good as she could be. But here's the build we're using. 5,700 attack power, or magic. 290 bird killer. Oh, and LB damage. And maxed out LB damage. She did 13 billion, so she capped all by herself. So, yay, pause, EX1. And then Louise, completely naked. She's on Odin to finger snap the boss. Also to do a good 90% spirit break. You could swap her out for Savior Lightning if you wanted to. It'd be the exact same thing. If you do that, give Savior Lightning the Quadcast and Comet, so you can chain Quadcast and Cast Wave Awaken single target with your pause. Anyway, there's some cheaper runs on these two bosses, so see you later.